Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome back to the channel for another update on Kadena. So what on earth is happening right now? Kadena is down more than 10% on the daily time frame, the 42 days worth of pain, and 50-cent KDA, which we've been calling on this channel for absolutely ages now, is playing out exactly as predicted. So what's the next move for KDA? Let's talk about it. Well, while we got the 50-cent KDA right, I may have got one thing wrong, and we're going to talk about this in just 1 second. So, as we've been talking about on the channel, this volume cluster right here, we've absolutely torn through. The next major volume cluster to the downside is coming right at the price target we've been talking about for ages, 50 cent, all the way down to the next volume cluster at 32 cent. So we predicted the 42 days worth of pain, we predicted the 50 cent KDA, and our KDA short recently just got closed out in a 3x profit. So what have I got wrong in these regards? Well, let's talk about it right now. This is in terms of my prediction that Kadena was probably going to bounce on the 50 cent. Now, things may develop worse than initially anticipated, and here's why. If we come over to the altcoin market cap, since my last prediction that KDA will likely bottom at 50 cent, there's been some developments in the altcoin market which are obviously outside of the KDA charts. Now, if we look at the total 2, which is basically the altcoin market, the entire cryptocurrency market minus Bitcoin, you can see that we've been on this parabolic downtrend in the bear market. We were finding resistance up at the bull market top here. We found resistance, another major touch point right here. And as we came back up to this over in March of 2023, we managed to have a break above it. We didn't quite retest the 618 Fibonacci before turning down. And as we've been warning you on the channel, we are aggressively retesting this downtrending line of resistance. And in technical analysis, the more often that you retest a trend line, the more likely you are to break to the upside. So if we were touching the 618 like this, bashing against it, we'd have a completely different perspective that we were likely to flip up. But when you're retesting this to the downside, it's very likely that you're going to break down. And as you can see, the altcoin market is getting obliterated. It is down 6.5% today. That's including all of the blue chips as well. You can see this week as well, we have had a nasty bearish engulfing candle, down 11.5% this week and down 14% from the top to the wick. So things are not looking good, and the reason why I'm about to change some of my KDA analysis is due to the fact that we've just wicked back beneath this trend line. Now, if we close a weekly candle beneath this resistance line, then in my opinion, Bitcoin and the altcoins are looking to get absolutely obliterated next week. And because of this, things are looking shaky in the higher timeframes for KDA. Like I originally said, I do personally believe that we will find a local bottom at 50 cent. Things may not play out that way. Now, I'm going to give you my price target on this in just 1 second, but I want to run through a few different charts with you. First of all, like we've been discussing on this chart over here, looking at the stochastic RSI fractal, every single time that we highlighted the stochastic RSI comes down to this 0 region, it takes approximately 42 days, 56 days, 42 days worth of pain before finding a local bottom, bouncing back up to the upside and getting out of here. So in terms of what's happening right now, if we come over to the daily time frame, you can see since we made this video, if we come back over to the channel and type in 42 days, you can see we made this video about a month ago predicting 42 days worth of pain for KDA. Some people laughed at us. That's completely fine. You can see what happened in 42 days. We've got absolutely obliterated. And according to, this video, according to my initial 42 days worth of pain, even in the best case scenario, we've still got about another 9 days worth of a bleed out to the side. In other words, in my opinion, we're still likely to get continuation for another week. Now, what is supporting this is the fact that the total 2 is probably about to close a weekly candle beneath this line of resistance. And if that happens, yes, we can definitely get continuation. Bitcoin can also bleed out, but if Bitcoin bleeds out as well and the altcoins are bleeding out, then altcoins are obviously going to bleed out harder, and the total 2 is going to rocket down, and Kadena is going to follow. Now, considering how we're literally right at this volume profile at 50 cent, things are getting shaky. There's no technical analysis patterns to the downside. If we pull up things like EMA ribbons, 200 week moving averages rather, they don't exist for Kadena. All of the oscillators, moving averages, price targets are now above us. As we've been talking on the channel, we've been looking at things like bear flags, we've been looking at price targets for these head and shoulders. Today, the head and shoulders price target got hit. If we come over to our price targets, you can see we've sliced through volume profile 1, we've sliced through the bear flag, we've sliced through the head and shoulders. We're now just literally sitting at this volume profile at 50 cent. If we break beneath 50 cent, there's nothing beneath us, you know, we're in price discovery to the downside right now. We're in an area where there's no volume. We can quickly see knee-jerk reactions to the downside. We've also been looking at fractals on the channel that highlight every single time we break beneath the bear market lows. On average, we have more than 50% moves to the downside. Over here, we had 48%. Over here was 69%. Over here was 41%. On average, that's more than 50%. We're only down, 31.7% right now. So once again, I'm talking about on average, looking at all of these different charts. All of these different charts tell me over here, we've got another 9 days worth of pain. Over here, we've probably got about another 10% to move to the downside at least. And in terms of the oscillators, there's still a lot of room to move to the downside. Now, I want to get rid of these oscillators as quickly as possible. So I do just want to quickly highlight the MACD is 1 week away from breaking bearish. And when I say 1 week away, I mean this is going to break bearish on Monday. Now, how do I know this is going to break bearish on Monday? Well, it's pretty much already crossed, and I have a few different MACDs over on my chart, some of them which are fast acting, some of them are slow acting, and this MACD, which I've got, the CM Alt MACD, acts a little bit faster than most MACDs, and this week, within the past day or so, it has just started to cross bearish. So I think the regular MACD, which most people use, is going to cross bearish on the weekly time frame for Kadena next week. If we are looking at the MFI, you can actually still see that despite the price breaking down to the downside, the MFI is actually still holding up quite strong and indicates that there's quite a lot more liquidity that can potentially outflow from Kadena. And in terms of the stochastic RSI, what I really want to highlight is what we've been talking about over on this chart over here. Like we've been saying, the stochastic RSI normally has to give us a sign that it's getting ready to turn up before we see that bounce. Over here, you can see the MACD started turning up before the bounce happened. Over here, you can basically see the MACD was turning up as the bottom was in. Over here, you can see the MACD basically crossed bullish, broke back down, bottomed, but then it kind of started to rise up, and that is when you knew that the bounce was going to come for Kadena. Now, right now, this is no joke, on the weekly time frame, we're getting obliterated. We are completely flat. Look how much I'm zooming in. We are absolutely dying right now, and in fact, it's looking like we're going to cross back bearish again after this, slight dead cat bounce over on the stochastic RSI. So all in all, basically all the charts that I'm seeing right now are not looking good, and they're not in favor of a bounce to happen anytime soon for Kadena. Now, KDA BTC, just before we wrap up the video, has come down to our price target, just like we've been predicting on the channel. It looks like we're finding a tiny bit of support around the 2.618, and by a tiny bit of support, I really just mean that we've locally bounced from this region. I don't think it's going to hold. Here's where things get scary. Once again, just like KDA USD, we're in a parabolic landslide to the downside. There's only one more price target I've really got my eyes on, and that's about a 51% drop in the market. Yeah, let's not talk about the next one. So in general, what I'm seeing right now is Bitcoin is weak, and I'm continuing to expect that Bitcoin is going to break down lower. We have just lost the 200-week moving average right here. We've lost the EMA ribbons as support. We've lost the bull market support bands as support, and we've also lost this major cluster on the VPVR, which lets me know that we're probably going to move down to about 24,000. Now, all of this is happening while the altcoin market is losing this last line of support. So things are looking ugly to me. The altcoin market is in the macro making lower highs, and also in the macro we've just lost this massive trend line. And if we close a weekly candle beneath 530 billion, KDA, along with other altcoins, is likely to get decimated in the coming week or so. So because of this, my friends, I personally think I got it wrong. I don't think KDA is quite ready to bounce at this 50 cent region. If we break beneath 50 cent and start plummeting for that next leg down, we might find ourselves coming all the way down to this big volume cluster at 31.5 cent. Now, there is a positive to us breaking down further than originally anticipated. Like I said, if we're looking at the stochastic RSI is letting us know that, hey, maybe not in terms of percentage moves. And what I mean by this is, while the stochastic RSI could turn up in like 2 weeks and go on a nice rally, which is personally still what I'm predicting as a base case, I'm just not expecting 50 cent is the bottom anymore. Just because the bottom in terms of the time frames is near doesn't mean that in terms of percentages we can't absolutely rock it down to 30 cent before having a bounce. So what I'm personally going to be doing is potentially, when I emphasize this, nothing's written in stone yet, potentially start eyeballing my first KDA DCAs down at 31.5 cent, at which point I think will be completely oversold. I would be expecting a bounce at that point, and then for example, if we do see a bounce from 31 cent, I mean, look how far away we are from our moving averages. I have to come over to a slightly different chart because over on Bittrex, this wick doesn't actually exist over on other exchanges. So if I pull up a different chart, if we come over to one with some nice trading history like this one over here, what you can see is the last time that we were just absolutely miles away from the moving averages, being the bull market support bands and the EMA ribbons, we were kind of in these scenarios expecting another week or two worth of continuation back down, and you can see from these positions KDA bounced 80%. From this position, we bounced 85%. So what I'm potentially looking at doing is, obviously we're still bearish right now. We're not trading this market. Remember, we shorted from a position of strength up at $1.12. We've already hit the take profit. We made a 3x on that. We're currently on the sidelines, just looking at the markets out of curiosity, saying this is probably where we're going to come down to. And in my opinion, I think it's very likely Kadena could come down to as low as 31.5 cent, at which point I'm considering pivoting into a DCA and placing this DCA at 31.5 cent on the assumption that we're probably going to have a parabolic bounce to the upside, probably revert into some long-term moving averages. Maybe we could double in price going from 30 to 60 cent before deciding what we do with the bear market lows, which we'll update in a later video. But this is kind of my base case. This is kind of what I'm expecting to happen. I think we're probably going to slice through 50 cent like butter at some point next week. We're going to come down to 31.5. I may potentially, I'll keep you informed, nothing written in stone yet, but yeah, I may potentially buy at 31.5 cent, pivot into a short-term bullish position, watch the markets bounce, sell my DCA and use the DCA funding to fund a new short from another position of strength after we've reverted into higher time frame EMA ribbons, whatever it be. We'll decide what happens at that point in time. We have to predict one thing at a time. We're predicting a breakdown. I don't want to be predicting a breakdown and then a pump up to a specific price target and then a short with a specific amount of leverage. We need to take things one price target at a time. In the immediate short term, let's see what happens if we do not hold 50 cent. If we do hold 50 cent as support next week and the altcoin market is looking like it's showing a bit of strength and I start to see the stochastic RSI turn up, that's a completely different story. I'll update you if that scenario does happen. But I just wanted to let you know, based on what I'm seeing in Bitcoin, based on what I'm seeing in the altcoin market cap, based on what I'm seeing in the strength of Kadena and looking at the oscillators, they are all telling me we're potentially setting up for another week to the downside, and judging by how brutal this bearish engulfing candle is coming down to 50 cent, I think it's likely we could come down to 31.5. But for today, my friends, that is all I've got. That's really all I'm seeing in Kadena. As of right now, I'm very much on the sidelines. Like we just highlighted, we've been giving you these price targets for Kadena, at 69 cent, at 55 cent, at 50 cent. We've been talking about these macro price targets for months now. In the past, couple of days, we've come down and hit all of these price targets. Now is not the time for me to be saying, I'm thinking we're going to go lower, so I'm going to, go into another short when we're not in a position of strength. That's not how I'm going to be navigating these markets. I'm waiting for that next position of strength to present itself. Whether that position of strength ends up being down at 31.5 cent and buying, or whether we have a beautiful bounce from 50 cent and come up to, maybe back up to $1, something like this. I'm waiting for the markets to present me with that next position of strength, which we can profit in and which we can trade in. As of right now, everything's playing out as we have foreseen. So yeah, let's take it one price target at a time. Let's see what happens if we do not hold 50 cent. Buckle up, because things can get much more ugly. For today, my friends, that's all I've got. If you did enjoy the content, make sure to let me know down below by leaving a like and a comment. Share the videos with your friends. If you want to further support the channel, feel free to click the join button and become a member today. Follow me over on Twitter at 618_Cowboy. It's been your boy Cowboy Trades. I'm out, my friends. Peace.